All I'm saying is that we know that the buildings were still intact, for the most part, if a little bit damaged. After the god of destruction killed everybody, as we see Salem walk by them before she jumps into the forbidden jello and becomes grimified. All I'm saying, they're still there. So it's entirely likely that Beacon isn't just built to look like her tower, probably in the same place as her tower. More than likely, what happened is Oz renovated it from the tower that was already there and rebuilt it. And that's why Beacon looks like it. It doesn't just look like it, it is the original tower. Team RWBY's horrible OSHA violating bunk beds are all in the same place where Salem was kept a prisoner in her own home. That's all I'm saying. Twist of the century. Everything eventually circles back to Vale like we know it's going to. Everything circles back to Vale. And Salem realizes, oh, you did that. It's like that. Okay. It's like that. Okay. It's like that. I see you, Oz. I see you. This is all I'm saying. It's also just very, very funny about that don't meet your heroes thing, because Neo, in the book, it's described that her favorite fairy tale is The Girl in the Tower, because she's able to relate to being trapped in her own home. And then some dude with a magic cane shows up and everything changes, and then she meets Salem, and 2 days after she meets Salem, she falls into the fairy tale world. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, is that it's just funny how that worked out. When I was listening to the audiobook for Roman Holiday for the first time and it got to that reveal, I had to pause, because I was on another plane of existence for like 10 minutes whenever it was revealed that Neo, her favorite fairy tale, is The Girl in the Tower, and then she ends up meeting Salem in Volume 8. I was sent to the Ever After. I've seen it. That's how I know that the relics are there. There's a sword there, and John's gonna pick it up and turn into Arknight, and that's what's gonna happen to him. Someone's gonna get the crown, and that's part of the what are you gonna be thing, because the crown shows you a choice you have to make in the future, so that's gonna be part of it. I don't actually know. It could be, if I'm right about the Ever After being the relic world, which until I'm proven wrong, I'm sticking to it, because it makes sense with how Ambrosius works and what Yang said, and God, and man, we have 3 weeks. We only have 3 weeks. It's been 84 years. We have 3 weeks. And it's all I've been thinking about and talking about across the last 2 years. And now it's even more on my mind, as we're in the final stretch. We've got the 3 weeks left. And I can't wait to see if I'm right or not. We got 10 episodes this volume. Probably gonna be longer episodes. If we get half-hour episodes for Volume 9, then even at the lowest amount of episodes, it will reach the longest duration of a volume so far at 5 hours. Volume 8 capped out at 4.5. Speaking of, did you know that if you watched RWBY the entire way through, no breaks, you could get through it within 24 hours? That's not true. Little over 24 hours. It's about 24.5 hours long, the entire series. I would not recommend doing that. I tried that. It wasn't the best experience. I loved watching it. It is taxing, though. It is taxing to do that. Would not recommend. Solid 4 out of 10 experience. 4 because I was enjoying the show, but I take the 6 off. because I was trying to speed run watching RWBY, which isn't that great of an idea. But this, always rewatch the show. I'm noticing new stuff still, and I'm on like my 20th rewatch. That's an exaggeration, but I have rewatched the show a lot. Hell, I just rewatched the Yellow trailer, and the way that Yang steps up to the counter where Junior and the Malachite twins are, the way that they're lined up has the colors of Team RWBY in reverse, because Yang walks up, she's right next to Junior, who's in black, he's next to Melanie, who's in white, who's next to Milsha, who is in red, and it's even funnier because Melanie and Milsha use concept art of RWBY and Weiss, which is why they have the red and white in their designs, and wow, I hope that I got their names right. I think Melanie is the one in the white. Yeah, because the way that I remember is that Melanie is kind of portrayed as the smart one, Milsha's the ditzy one, and that's kind of like the exaggerated, like, way that you could describe, exaggerated and kind of inaccurate way that you could describe Weiss and RWBY at the beginning of the series, because RWBY's never really been ditzy. She's got social issues, but she's never been ditzy. She made Crescent Rose, which Osmond said is one of the most powerful weapons ever devised. Or dangerous was actually his wording. You can't do that if you're unintelligent. And RWBY, I know that's RWBY, Crow, Yang, Coco, Velvet have all canonically been the ones to design their own weapons. Maybe Nora, designing it based off of the mallet that's from Kuro Yuri, maybe. But that's the way that I remember it, Britt. It's the way I remember it. Melanie and Weiss are the prim proper princesses. Milsha and RWBY are the dolts. Okay. Also, I think I got it figured out. Shion Zaiden, their illusion, they have two illusions, okay? One is Sleeping Beauty, because one, Shion is hot. Let's get that out of the way right now. Shion's an attractive character. I don't know why I'm doing this with my voice. It sounds like I'm doing a weird voice to me. I don't know why. Just roll with it. But, also, they use a dream catcher. I know that is a very controversial decision, them using the dream catcher, but they use it with the magic thread. How did Sleeping Beauty fall asleep? She pricked her finger on the thread needle. Just saying. But also, it ties into Princess and the Pea. How does it tie into Princess and the Pea? I'll tell you how it ties into Princess and the Pea. The princess wasn't able to sleep because she was on 20 mattresses and there was a pea in the middle of one of them for some reason. And she couldn't sleep because she felt the pea. And I mean, I don't know. I think anyone who feels pee in their bed isn't going to sleep properly. Just saying. But why am I talking like that? That's not my voice. But Shion, they fight the Nightmare Grim, which is a plant, which I've been wanting that for years. I've been wanting a plant Grim for years. Thank you, Ice Cream. If you did one thing right, it's that. But you know what a pea is? It's a plant. And the Nightmare messes with your dreams. I don't know if Ice Kingdom follows the same guidelines for creating characters the way that the show does. That voice keeps coming back, and I don't know why, but it does. I don't know if Shion follows the same guidelines of having an illusion. Not that every RWBY character has an illusion. Winter does not have a confirmed illusion yet. Still convinced it's Freya, though. Still convinced that it's Freya from Snow White and the Huntsman because of the Weiss association, and also Huntsman. But I think Shion Zaiden does have a color association. I don't know. All I know about Shion's name is that it's also the name of that town where that Huntsman died in Volume 4. That's all I know about Shion's name. It's interesting that they hardly ever reuse names in this show. They hardly ever do. How many characters can you think of that share the same name? May Marigold and May Zedong. And then Lisa Lavender. There's a character in Grimm Campaign with the Lavender surname who isn't related to Lisa Lavender, which I think is a shame. That could have made for some interesting world building. I need to catch up on Grimm Campaign, actually. I always forget where I stop. I get like 3 episodes in, stop watching, which is a shame because it actually is very entertaining, and Pike Wright is the best character from Grimm Campaign, and I will not hear otherwise. There's one thing Carrie Shawcross can do, it's voice dorks. And yeah, Pike Wright, Neptune Vasilius, I believe he's also the voice of Floyd in RWBY Chibi. I should probably know that for sure, because I am the CEO of Mike and Marty, and therefore Floyd by association. But I don't even know who voices Mike and Marty right offhand. I gotta figure that out before someone steals my CEO title. That's not good. I can't have that. You want to know what happened when the Hound first spoke? Everyone was adding me on Twitter because I'm the Mike and Marty person. One of the sole survivors of the RWBY Chibi era. Not the RWBY Chibi era, the RWBY Loves You era. That was a great time on Twitter. And then everyone left. It's like the god of darkness, just Thanos snapped everyone away again. And it's just me and like 2 other people. There might be a Marrow, there might be a Neon, I'm not sure. Speaking of Neon, where is Team Funky? We don't have any info on Team Funky. I tried to ask them about Team Funky at one of the Reddit AMAs. You want to know what I got? Diddly. I didn't get anything on Team Funky. I got what the difference is between Emerald's hallucinations and Neo's overactive imagination, because the novel kind of blurred the lines on the differences. But I didn't get anything on my Team Funky question. Speaking of those AMAs, Carrie, also speaking of you again, you're a bad liar. How are you going to tell us that there's no association between Salem and Jean? How are you going to tell us that the emblem thing is coincidental? How? You are a bad liar. If you would have kept the emblem the same way as it was in The Lost Fable, no one would have said anything. But no, y'all intentionally flipped it upside down and showed the rest of it to show that it's just Jean's double crescent emblem with a rhombus in it. You're a bad liar. You're a bad liar. You're a bad liar. Because there has to be a connection, because it's literally the same emblem with a rhombus. And then people try to tell me, oh, but Adam and Ruby both have rose emblems, and you're not saying the same thing about them because they're not the same emblem. They are very different roses. One is just the petals of a rose. The other one is a whole rose that is wilted because Adam is based on the beast, and the minute that the rose finished wilting, the beast's curse was going to be permanent. It's not the same thing, because here, it's literally Jean's emblem, but with a rhombus at it. You can't look at the 2 things and say they're comparable. They are not. They are not. It's like saying that Crow and Ravens aren't connected, even though they're literally just like a mirror image of one another, with maybe a slight change in the gears. You're a bad liar, Carrie. I guess that's a good quality to have, though. To not be good at lying, I guess. I was on a roll for a minute there. I was on a roll for 14 minutes. Huh.